Taco boy. Okay. Perfect. Well, good afternoon, evening, whatever that you want to call this. Welcome to the link sale, the first annual link sale. Like I said, welcome to it. We're in a beautiful setting right now over here at the golf course. We've got some golf lessons going on behind us, so if you see some missed putts, don't be too concerned. Beautiful afternoon, beautiful evening to sell some show pigs, some very, very high caliber prospects that we have lined up for you guys. And excited to be a part of this. And I just want to say personally, thank you to Todd and Blake for letting us come out here, offer a few pigs, and then still very excited to jump into this deal. Like I said, I think there's a lot of neat prospects in here. Lots of differences, lots of pedigrees to tie into on the gilt side, lots of bears that I think you could tie into the feeding kind that looks like that they're going to work come next spring, regardless of what endpoint you take them to.
Yeah, so like Kimball said, again, one of those deals that's just going to be a really great sell. The Lynx deal's like his inaugural deal here, and it's going to take off. And I think it's going to be an incredible sell here. And like you said, we're here at the Fire Lake Golf Course. It's incredible. He said there's putting lessons going on back behind us. I know this is Blake. He needed some of them earlier today. But I think we're going to get started here. We got dinner coming on at 5:30 by Taco Boy. They're in Tecumseh. It's incredible. If you guys haven't had it, try the Savage. It's unbelievable. This Todd obviously puts me on it, and it's I mean, second to none in terms of food here. I think the sale starts at 6. And just like I said, like Kimball just stated, there's a bunch of just incredible prospects here, pedigree-wise, not only pedigree-wise, but the pigs that look like they're going to feed, look like they're going to go down the road and actually end for a kid that buys these pigs. I think we're going to start here with this lot 1 here from CNC. Kimball wants to get started on this thing. She's a gilt modern day, saved by grace little bro. I think this little bro sow came from Mullet. She'd be a litter mate to Simple Man. Another one that needs no introduction in terms of this mullet genetics. They've been on fire just recently. They had the high selling gilt to the city this last year. And if Kimball wants to take it away, he can go for it.
Having a little technical difficulty here. We're good? Okay. Perfect. A little extra time to look at this special gilt right here. Man, I don't know. I think this thing's a hell of a way to lead it off, just personally. This gilt, just phenotypically, fires me up. And I hope that you guys that are in tune with what we do in March, and I'm not saying this thing has to end in March. She can go anywhere in the country and obviously be put in anybody's sow battery, and she's going to do extremely well there. But I do think as a show gilt, this thing's the kind that's very, very tough to turn. She's stout, she's boxy, she's awesome built, foxy headed. These modern days, to me, I think skull shape and front third has been incredible. Hip and hind leg structure, obviously, just as impeccable there. And when you put all that into a gilt that I'd call my speed, just in terms of center cage density and stoutness all the way through, I think it's a really special deal. And so, obviously, CNC's been extremely good and extremely competitive here, especially lately. I think this gilt's incredible and a great way to lead us off.
Yeah, and like Kimball said there, this one is a modern day, which obviously needs no introduction there at CSP. I mean, this thing's been stamping them in terms of a front third, like he's saying, their stoutness of skull, their extension through the front third of the body. And then when you tie them back to a big blade, they come with a big cage and they got a big pin set. That just kind of reads success for me. So again, this CNC group, they need no introduction as well. They've been on fire lately. Their gilts are incredible. They've been winning several bear shows across the country. This gilt looks like she could be fed early and have fun early and often. Like Kimball said, I don't think she has an end point in terms of like where you have to end with her. I think she has a long window of opportunity. I think this one's got a real high resale value in terms of wherever she ends. Very, very, very good pig here. She looks stout. She looks functional. She looks good looking. I really like this pig a bunch.
Next one up is going to be lot 2. Get into the Richie consignment here. Going to be a gilt that's a pass the hat quitting time. The sow on these is actually a mate to closing time. And so anyway, it's a $15,000 deal from Platt that's there at the stud, if I'm remembering right here. This gilt is one that I think, again, is very, very, very special. And so this 10-liter gilt, Richie's got 2 of them in this deal. Lot 2 is one that I think ought to be real high on everybody's list.
Yeah, and I agree with this, Richie. This one's just opportunity feed wise looks incredible. She looks like she's going to get there in terms of the end. She looks like a good feeding type of pig. Her tallness shoulder looks incredible. She's got a big forearm. She's got a big rear leg working in there. And like he touched on, this thing's a pass hat, and that thing's needs no introduction in terms of what he's accomplished in the past year. So again, I wouldn't be scared of this one at all. Again, another resale value is just extremely high in this pig in terms of the way she's bred and also the way she looks phenotypically.
Lot 3 is coming up next. Dark cross boar pig here that come from our farm. He's 19-7. This is an as expected backdrop on a lock it up out of reach. And so as expected is the boar that we partnered with Wintex and a couple other guys to get bought from Willie K and Austin McGill at K&M Show Pigs, our buddies down in the southeast part of the state. We don't give them too much flack for being from that part of the world, but I do think this area is a little bit better, Todd, personally. I like this pig a bunch, and I don't want to, rant on my own stock too much, but, man, this is what we were going for with the as expected. We used them pretty heavy. We liked that boar a bunch, put faith in him. He's currently housed at Wintex, and we didn't sell any semen out of him. And it's for reasons like this. I really, really like this male pig. Clicked great on the hammer daughter. So the hammer sow would be the grandma of these things. The lead off from Wintex's sale a couple summers back when we first got up and going in the sow game. Again, put a lot of faith into this pig. Phenotypically, I love him personally. He's stout, he's boxy, he's built with an awesome hip and hind leg that goes back generations into his bloodline there. And then genetically, I put as much trust into this one as anything that we've raised up to this point.
So, like Kimball said, I mean, this as expected. This thing's been hot across the country in terms of this last season. I mean, these things have been stout, they've been boxy, they've been good looking, and as Kimball stated before, this sow line is just incredible. He tied into it a couple years ago at Winter's Life, or I guess not Winter's Livestock, but at Wintex Livestock there. Another sow that's just incredible in terms of the way she's built. I actually seen her personally. She's awesome in terms of her build, her cage. She's so boxy built and so stout. This bear looks like an excellent representation of what that sow should have thrown her whole life. I really, really like this pig. He looks like a good feeding type. And congratulations to the Kimball family for bringing this one.
Up next will be Lot 4, the Brockman consignment. This gilt right here is going to be before the throne, back on a major league, which will be Watchman's sister. A gilt that I really think you ought to study into. Pedigree's there, obviously. Brockman's got a description on here for you, but man, I'll tell you, just looking at this thing, I've watched this video several times. This gilt to me, guys, just personally, being from Oklahoma, this is the kind of gilt that wins time and time again in March and finds that sale. And again, Christian's touched on some resale value here. I would think that that's extremely high in this particular female. Again, the stoutness that we have to have, the kind of look that we have to have, and all on the running gear that all of us are craving for, and all of us are requiring in today's current state and where we're at in the game. I think this one hits a lot of those boxes, takes it to the extreme in a lot of areas too.
And like Kimball stated here on this lot 4, the resale value on this one is through the roof. I mean, I think this thing's awesome in terms of the way she's built, in terms of her boxiness. She's got a big chest. She's got a big blade work in there. And like you said, you just kind of watch the video here. It kind of speaks for itself. And this Brockman obviously needs no introduction in terms of the way he's hit the industry. Pigs are good. They feed well. And this one looks like she'd be real good in terms of the time and March time. So, like I said, another great consignment from the Brockman industry. That'd be lot 4.
It's like we'll have lot 5, blue boar pig here from Goss Livestock. This little boar pig is a no stranger hero. And so I'm reading my notes here. The mom is actually a mate sister to the mom of the Denver pig, the mom of the Expo pig, the mom of those blue gilts that would have made the sale for him there at OYE. That litter was obviously in contention for litter of the year. Incredible litter of pigs here. And so the mom of this little boar pig is a mate sister to the mom of those that we just spoke of there that got along so good this past spring on into the summer. And so obviously pedigree, from a pedigree standpoint, for those of you guys that are gurus on that, This is about as good as it's going to get right here. No stranger hero. Very good little pig.
And like he stated, this one, in terms of just pedigree wise, is incredible. I think this one's got a ginormous window of opportunity here. The sow line's proven, the pigs are good, and obviously this Goss is on a heat streak like no one's ever seen before. So if you want one that can compete there in terms of March, maybe February even, get with this Goss family. Call Blake or Ty, Dana, whatever you want to do. This pig's real good. He looks like he's going to feed. He looks like an incredible individual. Get with him. Don't be scared of this one. He's very good.
As we move on into lot 6, Ryan is back here working on his putting game. We sure could have used that earlier. We did come in second today. Wish he would have touched up on that this morning. Lot 6, and another very, very good male pig here from Keplinger Farms here. This boar pig is going to be a Click It icon, tricked out, breaking rules. And so a little male pig here that fires me up just personally with what I'm after anyway, and what I look for in these little show prospects. This one to me is one that feeds so true and well, and it's because his hip and his hind leg is structured right. He's long hipped, but he's giant legged, and that's so hard to do currently, to put enough flex and enough hip length into one that's got the right kind of hair, bone, and shag that we all have to have and have to win shows, and rightfully so. I like this pig quite a bit.
So as Kimball touched earlier, he was second in this tournament. I actually won the tournament here with this Jesse Farrell. We had a good day. And this Keplinger pig, he just kind of reminds me of the way Jesse was hitting his drives today, long and straight. This thing looks like he's just kind of just undeniable in the way he's built. His tallness, the pointed shoulder. This thing's angles read incredibly well. He's got a good stout skull laid in this pig. And this grandam of this sow's what's most intriguing to me. This baby girl, she'd be the Grand Gilded Ohio in 2022. And that thing was incredible the way that they talked about her. They say she was so good. And like I said, this pig just looks like, and Kimball stated before, just looks like the kind that's going to feed. Its hip and hind leg looks like it works functionally. This pig's going to be incredible the way it goes in terms of motion. He's got a big cage working in this pig. Another good one here from the Keplinger farm. Don't be scared of this one.
Also want to keep in touch on this lot. Great grandam is Peyton, the mom of the Grand and the Reserve Bears at Ohio this past year. And so look in here.
We'll go to this lot 7. It'll be a Berkshire Bear from the H&F Genetics. This thing's a top hand. This top hand there at CSP Genetics, and another one that's just incredible. Came from the Barn Burner Genetics. Another one that's just kind of good looking. Looks like it's going to feed. Got a good in terms of its flesh, good in terms of its cage. This one looks like a very good prospect for a Berkshire Bears show. Another one that I feel very confident in terms of getting bought, getting on feed, and just kind of working wherever he needed to go in terms of February, maybe even March, pushing through the limit. Very good pig here.
I know I kind of chuckle at seeing ones that are colored like this, because this one works in Oklahoma and in Texas, or basically anywhere you want to end up with them from a color standpoint. And he'll certainly class, or at least I would assume. You know, if I was classing in Texas, this one sure would. I do come from Oklahoma. We get by with a little more stuff here, but this pig is incredibly good. And I hope that you guys that are looking for a Burke Barra can dang sure find it here. Proportions are right. Front third's immaculate for that particular breed. He's got the hip length, the hind leg structure that we're all chasing, the kind that gets up in the top end of them classes. And then based off a little bit of feed and management, how you go win a Berkshire breed. I think this one's got the right parts and pieces to do it.
So this lot 8, he'd be from the Savage Genetics here, and their Hampshires have been incredible here recently. This thing's just, in terms of the way I look at this pig and the way he looks like he's going to feed, he looks like he's the perfect maturity pattern for Hawaii. He looks like he's good in terms of the way he's built. He looks like he's got a good hip and hind leg in him there, especially for a Hampshire pig. This thing's awesome there. He's dead level. He's got a good look through his front third. I'd be extremely confident in this pig. And again, another thing to touch on in this Hampshire deal, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that these Hampshires and these Yorkshires do not count as one of your 3 bears to show in the OYE. And so that's another thing that you can touch on. And you got a little sister, little brother, whatever it may be. This pig's got an opportunity, and he's got a big opportunity at that.
Good pig here from the Savage Genetics. better pig than what Blake was today on the golf course, to just be completely honest with you. Bear that dang sure has a chance. And again, I'm not going to tell you I'm a purebred Hampshire enthusiast, excuse me. But man, this thing's extremely good. Feedable type of a pig for sure. But one that I tell you, just judging these things in that breed, again, the build is what I've been the most impressed with, probably out of the Savage genetics in that particular population. That's kind of how they've outlined themselves, in my opinion. Hip and hind leg structure with the chest and still having density, still having the right kind of stoutness, look, proportion that it takes to get it done. And so I'd put a lot of confidence if you're looking for a Hampshire Barra. I'd say this one could be your ticket.
Hey, and another note on this Hampshire pig. I don't know if everybody remembers this pig or not, but this Mac Walker here in Oklahoma showed a gilt at the Phoenix show, the Arizona show there, that she was very, very, very popular, very good pig, and this would be the mother of this bear. So that just kind of speaks volume to the way this thing's bred and the way it's going to feed. So another thing to touch on there. This lot 9 would be S&D show pigs, be Scott Dean there in Nebraska. It'd be an easy for you timber, never before best man. What's so intriguing about this pig is the top side of his pedigree. This easy for you would be a littermate to everybody knows this OG pig that CSB has there in Warwick. The timber, never before best man's another intriguing pedigree. Timber needs no introduction. The never before best man would be the Sights best man, Sal, that Evan's been so popular with and been so competitive with in terms of over the years. Another pig that looks like he's going to feed incredibly well. He's got a good look to him. He's got a tall front end. He's got a good front third to him. I talked to this Scott earlier on the phone, and he said this pig is one of the better male pigs he's going to offer this time in terms of just feedability. Looks like he's going to get to the end. Looks like he'd be a real fun one in terms of the way you end up with him. Very good pig here from the SD Genetics.
Another pig that to me, and I know whenever I'm scouting prospects for our team, the first thing I kind of look at is maturity pattern and build, and just the way their skeleton lays into them. This thing looks like the kind that we need to start with. And so if you just look at front third, the right kind of maturity pattern to get to the endpoint you're going to, and this is one of them pigs you could take, to me, is one that you can take in February, is one that you can take in March. And if you want to coast them on past that, you do you. I think this thing feeds extremely, extremely good. This is the kind I've always liked starting with. Hip and hind leg, again, extremely, extremely good in this one. Maturity patterns there, but still having full rib shape and the right kind of body shape, the right kind of maturity pattern to them, to me, is what I think is so important to start with.
This lot 10, he'd be a Chester boar from the Klein Swine establishment there in Shawnee. This pig, and they need, I mean, in terms of what they've been doing in the past recent years with the Chester breed, needs no introduction. They've been competitive year in, year out here at the city. This pig would be a perfect game, which I believe the Klein group raised there. It'd be a custom-made Roscoe, which has been very successful with them. This pig looks like the kind that just they sell every year that feeds. This thing's big-legged. He's stout. He's good in terms of the density of his body. He's got to look through the front third of his body, and like Kimball's talked all day, this one's maturity pattern looks like he's going to feed to the end. He looks like he's going to be very popular all winter long through the end of Timbers March. Very, very good pig here. I wouldn't be worried about this one at all. He's very stout, real boxy built, real good looking, very good pig.
That is a very, very fancy looking Chester swine to me, just personally. Front third of his body is going to be a standout. And to me, just watching the Chesters, and we haven't shown very many of them, but obviously I watch everything as we get into March. Watching these things and even judging them too, the ones that get the quick pins are the ones that have the look, they have the stoutness, and this is across all breeds, but then also the right build. But how you get in the top end of that Chester game is being a little different, and that pig to me looks different from the side. Obviously has the build that this firm's known for. Hip and hind legs going to be correct on this guy, is going to come correct. That maturity pattern in the Chester game, I know you guys get probably tired of hearing me talk maturity pattern, but man, there's nothing worse than a quick jumpy Chester to me. This thing's the complete opposite of that. He's high level in terms of side profile, image, silhouette, running gear, again, with the right kind of stoutness. Very good pig.
Hey, this lot 11 here comes from the Hofschulte Genetics, and I know if Chris would hear, he'd put the unicorn emoji, and he'd put the winky face emoji, he'd put the shades on emoji. This guy would put them all because this pig's real good. He's a surrounded in-game. This in-game sow, I believe, would be a litter mate to the sow that Pell had here this last time that had these money moves pigs that sold real well here about a week ago. Very, very good pig. Again, this one looks like, in terms of maturity pattern, he looks like he's going to feed. He's got a big cage. He's got good depth center. He's got a good skull working in him. This pig's got a big hind leg. I've seen him personally. He's tall fronted. He's good looking. He's got a big chest. I really like this pig quite a great deal. Let's see what Kimball has to say about him.
I think just personally for me, the first thing that stick out on this pig is his skull shape. I love this thing's jawline. His width to his eyes is extremely good. Wicked stout featured, but then still has the right motor. And then for me personally, that's what's so unique about him. His hip length, his athleticism, not only that they've been known for, top to bottom. I've always really respected the Hofschulte crew for bringing them right in terms of their build. This thing amplifies that by being stout. He's boxy, he's short backed, he's awesome centered, has a feeding cage on him. And what I mean by that is just his forerib cage and his sweep to his lower belly line. To me, looks like those ones that win big pig shows. And so I like this pig a bunch.
Yeah, and just a great description there. That's a very, very good pig. This lot 12 would be from Hamby Haven Show Pigs. He'd be a buck, or she'd be a buckle up trenches. Litter mate would be a $9,750 male pig from the established here recently. This one looks like she'd be incredibly fun come March. She looks like she could fit West Coast, being they got the all black division. She's so stout. She's so good looking. She's got such a stout skull laid in her with a good extension to the front third of her body. Where I really think this pig's incredible is her hip and hind leg, especially for the breeding. This one, in terms of hip length, is awesome. She's got a good hip and hind leg working in her. Her hind leg is ginormous. She motors around the ring incredibly well. I think this is a very good pig. I think anybody would be fortunate to get some bought.
Well, as many of you know, we're well past the days of caring about color. We're more interested in just having good pigs. And I think that they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes these days, especially as we fit different judges. There's one judge in particular, in my opinion, that would like this one or should like this one in the spring. And so contact me if you'd like to know kind of where my head's at there. But, man, I think this gilt's incredible in terms of stoutness, in terms of skull shape. I talk about that too much probably, but she's fuzzy. We all like the hair. We like the stoutness. We like the density. Hey, she's still got the hip and hind leg that you can feed on into any show and not have to protect too much. And so I think this gilt's incredibly good. And, again, we've touched on a little bit just the resale value of her, I would think, would be incredibly high.
And like Kimball touched there, he said something about the, touching on the stoutness of skull and skull shape too much. I don't think that's a case at all, because this one needs talked about. Her skull shape is incredible. The way she ties out of the bottom side of her neck, the top side of her blade. I think this one is extremely high quality show pig. I think she needs talked about. Very, very, very good pig. So we get into this lot 13. She's from Stephen Mark Gray, another one that needs just no introduction in terms of the show pig world. This guy's done it all. She'd be a, quite frankly, back on top dirty lovin'. The dam would be the grand of the Southeast Regional here in Southeast Oklahoma at the Expo, which is a very, very, very big show. This one looks like the type and kind that Steve's just known for making. She's big armed, big hind legged. In terms of the tallness of the pulling the shoulder, she's incredible. Another one in terms of just stoutness of skull and the way her shape's laid in her, very, very good pig. I think the resale value on this pig's extremely high. I can't wait to hear what Kimball has to say about her.
A gilt that to me, just first and foremost, I've always really, really respected Steve and Mark and what they do in terms of building pigs. There's not very many of them guys that I've known since I was way little. This is one of them. This is one of them I've always respected. I've always watched what they do and always admired from a couple towns over. And it's for pigs like this. To me, she's so fundamentally good in terms of her build, her maturity pattern. But then to still be able to pull that kind of bloodline together with the extras that she has, I think is incredible. Front thirds, great. Hip and hind leg assemblies, obviously awesome, as we know time and time again from that firm. And so she's got the extras it takes to get it done. And one that I think a guy should be really fired up on to keep around if you're going to, from a sow perspective. Again, I know that's maybe not the popular thing to do, but man, I think this one would be fun to have in a sow lot too.
Absolutely. I think that one would be incredible to have in a sow lot. This lot 14 would come from Team Sloan Livestock. Another one, again, that I mean, it sounds repetitive, but needs no introduction. This Troy's been hot as they come in terms of recent years. This thing's arm is huge. The thing it does have another, just in terms of density, the stoutness of skull is next level. She's good in terms of the way she's built. She's got a big hind leg working in her. She'd be a top shelf next contestant. Another one that I think is just very good in terms of her hip and hind leg, the way it's built. It's ginormous. It works in motion. Very, very good pig here. If you guys need any questions about these livestock here, they're not here in person, but if you can contact the breeder, that'd be incredible. This Sloan would love to talk about them, I'm sure.
Yeah, another one of them. This slide here, a couple of us have videos on there, a couple of us don't. This is one of the ones that comes equipped with a video. And so I hope you guys can study into this and don't be scared to reach out to any of us. But yeah, dang sure Troy's going to know more about this pig than what me and Seabear can sit up here and tell you. I'll just tell you personally what I think of her. I think she's elite, just in terms of what she brings to the table. Phenotypically, stout mugged, and my kind of speed in terms of having that kind of density to her front arm. Her front foot's incredible, but still being laid back and has the right kind of proportion, the right kind of length of back. It all matches in symmetry with her length of hip. Very good built animal that is awfully stout. She's broad-eyed, she's tough-jawed, and it still looks ladylike in terms of being a generator and being one that, again, I'm going to say it just because I'm probably me being a breeder of these things, but I think this one would be an incredible sow. And I know that we're looking at show gilts here. She still fits that ring extremely good, especially, to a guy like me that likes them built like that. I mean, she's phenomenal in terms of running gear, in terms of stoutness and proportions. And so a very, very good lot here that Team Sloan brings us.
Hey, and another thing that neither one of us touched on this one's resale value is absolutely through the roof. I think this one, in terms of where she ends at and whatever you want to end with her, this one, in terms of whatever sale she makes it to, is going to be very elite in terms of the way she's bred, the way she looks, the way she's built, and the way this thing carries herself. I think her in sale value is going to be extremely high. Very, very, very good pig here in lot 14. Thank you to Sloan Livestock.
Okay, our next lot here is a choice lot. Is that correct, Todd? I'm getting heads ups and thumbs ups here. Okay, it's going to come from MT Hart. This is kind of a neat opportunity here and something a little different that they're offering. They're offering choice of the gilts. It is out of a Berkshire marked gilt. These things are still crossbred. I believe that we had talked earlier. There's going to be no papers offered on these things. They are crossbred, but they are at a top hand. And this will go back to the $19,000 high-selling Texas Elite Crossbred, which is actually a Dig Deep Waterberg on Waterberg. And so, again, this is a lot that, to me, to dive into just genetically, very, very unique chance here to get in on a very, very unique opportunity. And so, again, I'll state it up front. They're not purebred. You're not going to get papers on them. You are getting pick of the litter. This should be a very, very exciting litter. It's going to be a 25% of the purchase price to lease them or full price to own them, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Todd? Golden. Okay, so that everybody's on the same page there. Guys, this is one of the neater things and probably more unique things that we have in the sale, so I wanted to make sure I get that right. I think this could be a real special deal.
So, like Kimball stated here, this thing, in terms of the way she's built, in terms of the way that this sow was built, she was a very, very elite show pig. This thing would be a Dig Deep Waterberg. So it'd be the sow mock, yeah. So the mock would have bought this thing, and she'd left it empty. Hart, Braxton Hart would also, right? Yeah. So this would be a. Like I said, just in terms of quality of livestock, this sow is extremely, extremely good. I actually seen her at Texas Elite. Very, very, very good pig. And like I said, this top hand, of course, needs no introduction. This sow obviously is not pure, so you're not going to get papers like Kimball stated earlier. And again, whatever the purchase price is, 25% of that would be the lease. You can own her outright for the full price. But I think a very elite opportunity in terms of if you want to get into the Berkshire industry, this one would be one to get into. Very, very good pig here.
We'll work down into lot 16 that comes next, again from the Ritchie firm, mate brother to the gilt that we talked about. That's going to be lot 2, I believe, in the sale tonight. And man, another one that I think on the mail form, you know, I hate to go back and forth like this, but to me, this one looks more like the boar pig. The other one looks more like the female. And I think if you can do that within the same litter, there's a lot to be said about the pedigree, but then also just phenotypically, a very, very interesting little boar pig here that I think would be a very, very fun one to feed. So again, this is a pass the hat on the quitting time sow that would be a mate sister to closing time. So neat chance here.
So yeah, like Kimball stated, obviously be a mate here to the lot 2. This past hat boar pig looks like a very, very high quality individual in terms of just the way he's built from the side. He's got a good cage in him. He's got a big hip. He's got a big hind leg. This Ritchie's very high on this pig. The sow here is incredible. She's made a good pig here recently that was very popular this summer. Another one, like I said, in terms of the way she's built, she's very good. This bear's very good. He's got a good skull shape laid in him. I think Kimball touched on enough things here. This thing's very, very, very good. So, again, if you want to get with Ritchie on this one to kind of get a little more details on this pig in terms of sow line, get with him. It's a very, very good pig.
Perfect. Yeah, and I again, just to go back and retouch on this pig just a hair. If you study those past the hats and kind of what they look like and where they need to start as babies to get them to the end point that everybody's after, I really think this pig's the case there. He's got the right kind of skull shape, and again, just symmetry and balance that we probably don't talk enough about in show bears these days. Extremely, extremely good. The right kind of hip length, the right kind of hind leg set to him, but still all the stoutness of feature in the hair in the cage that we all like to talk about, and that is the parts that separate you in a big pig show. I think this thing's got it. He combines that with the right kind of look, the right kind of feedability.
This lot 17 would be from the Kimball Livestock, and I'm not going to let him talk a whole bunch about this one because there's not a lot to say. But if you ain't first, you're last. This Ricky Bobby gilt looks incredible to me. The way she's built, she's in terms of the way she's designed from the side, her balance, her proportionalities. She's got a ginormous hind leg working in this one with a neat skull laid in her, still stout in terms of her front arm. This one's tall fronted. She's good looking, and she comes with an outcross pedigree that's like no other. She's very, very good pig here. And again, another one in terms of the resale value of this pig. The light crosses there in March would be very popular. Very good pig here from the Kimball Livestock Association.
I appreciate that, Seabear. Just to kind of give you guys a little rundown on the south side of this thing, because I'm sure some of you are scratching your head. Full pedigree is static, Dirty Harry Sky Zone. One thing that we've been doing kind of silently over the past couple of years is just building up a Southwest Yorkshire and a blue pig market. To be honest, I've kept the females I need to, culled the ones that I didn't. We haven't really sold anything out of any of the original white sow that we started with, which would be this pig's grandma, Dirty Harry Sky Zone. I've posted a little bit about him on Facebook. If you guys want to go back and do your research or reach out to me, I can send you all the things that you want on grandma and mom out of this one. We're fired up to keep going here forward on the blues. The blue pig thing to me, especially in the gilt side of it, is a little different. I think you got to have a pig that looks a little different. To be completely honest and just really transparent, this is what we're shooting for. Stout, clubby, foxy-headed one that's wicked built in terms of her hip and her hind leg. I trust this thing wherever you want to take her. I think she'll do an incredible job in the show ring. And again, he touched on the resale value of her a little bit. It's the kind that hurts me to let go because I've been working to put one together like this for quite some time. So excited to offer it. Wanted to offer some really, really good ones in our first sale. I do have videos on both of my lots for those of you guys that are watching or concerned. I will send videos if you need them. We're just fired up to be able to put our first 2 pigs that we're going to sell this year in this sale with some of our best friends. So we like this one a bunch.
Hey, and another thing to touch on here with this lot 17, this Ricky Bobby, this pig would have been from the JD Show Pigs deal, and that sow would have been a red 7 sow that obviously needs no introduction. That sow's incredible. So in terms of breedability, in terms of the phenotypical and genetic-wise this pig brings to offer, she's extremely, extremely good. Like I said, in terms of the hip and hind leg, tallness of point of shoulder, stoutness of skull, this one you can't go wrong with. Very, very good blue pig here to go with Kimball Livestock. Lot 18 would be from the Keplinger firm. She'd be a canoe, major league, Peyton breaking rules. This thing is, in terms of the way I look at this thing, she's just straight out of the keeper pen. incredible in terms of the way she's built. She's got a ginormous front arm with a great pastern set. She's got a good look in front of her blade. You get on top of her, she's got a good look in terms of their back shape. She's got a good dish laying down her. Very good in terms of her hip and hind leg. And another firm that needs no introduction in terms of especially the gilt word. This Keplinger Farms has been on a tear like you've never seen before. Very, very good pig here. And again, resale value on this one is extremely high depending on where you show her at. And I think she can go to March. I think she can go to June. I think this one's got a very big window of opportunity. Very good pig here. I think this is a very good show pig from the Keplinger Farms.
Great show pig, and for sure one that I think breeders ought to look into for a sow potential here. Pedigree is about as high as you can get from a farm that's dang sure one of, if not the hottest in the country right now. Obviously, they've done an incredible job. I've always personally just been a fan of guys that can dominate any aspect of this livestock industry because I respect how hard it is to get to that point. And so get in while it's hot. These guys are awesome. They're on a tear. And again, I think this gilt is incredible, exactly like what Seabear touched on here. Front leg structure, which is something we don't talk about just a whole heck of a lot anymore, but the way her belt's draped into her shoulder and the way that it angles back into her body with having that kind of feature, that kind of foot shape, and the curvature to her knee is extremely good up front. Hip and hind legs obviously extremely good. Just again, to touch on the genetic value of this thing, I think it's incredible. It says here the dam's responsible for the 3rd overall at Division III Ohio State Fair. Obviously the grand dam here is Peyton, which would be the mother of the Grand and Reserve Bears at the Ohio State Fair this year. And so I'm not sure that you can find more resale value in a little bitty show prospect. I think this gilt's awful neat.
I agree. I think that gilt is incredibly neat. Lot 19 would be from the SD Genetics, would be the Scott Dean firm there in Nebraska again. And I think she's a mate to the bear that was up above. Another one that we talked about in terms of just the way this one's feedability is. She looks like she's a big caged, good armed, good looking, good hind legged pig that looks like she's going to feed through the end. She's got a big, strong front pastern working in her. She's got a good opened up chest. I think this one's awesome in terms of the way she's bred as well. It's easy for you. Again, a mate to the OG board there at CSP Show Pegs. The Timber Never Before sow, again, needs no introduction in terms of what he's done for Evan and family there at the Warwick, but a very, very good pig. And I think one that's going to feed there through the end, one that'd be fun in March, one that'd be fun in June, one that'd be fun in February. I think this is a very, very good pig. Like I said, just a very good piece of livestock. Looks like she'd be fun to own. Looks like she'd be fun to feed. Very good pig.
Well, I got playing some slots here at the golf course earlier, and the one that did give me my money back was named Hot Ruby Red, if I'm not mistaken. That's what this gilt kind of reminds me of. If you just study the front third of her body, skull shape, the way she ties it out of the front third of her blade there, high and tight, and she's pretty up front, kind of like that Hot Scarlet Red that I hit on earlier. And so I think this pig's extremely good. I like her feedability. I like the window that she has. I think she's one that, again, he touched on. You could take to a multitude of different shows, and there's lots of value in that to me personally, as a breeder and as a feeder. Having a pig that you can get ready early and often because everybody loves to win jackpot shows, but then still having them right in the end. And I think to do that, you have to have the right build, you have to have the right kind of look, and have to put it all in the stoutest form that you can with the right kind of cage and center. And so I think this one does that. A nice pig here in lot 19.
And like Kimball touched on there with that a casino machine he was talking about. I don't know that he was talking about a casino machine because there was a... Anyway, so we'll talk about this lot 20. This Chester boar pig, we're going to round out the cell with this Klein swine. Another one, again, I think it's a mate to the gilt he had above. And just in terms of feedability, this one is incredible in terms of the way it's built out of the front side of its blade. And Kimball touched on that in terms of the Chester breed. You've got to look different, and you've got to be the right kind. You've got to have just a presence about you when you come to the big ring at the OYE. And this one's got it. He's tall fronted, he's good looking, he's got a big cage working in him. We get to the back third of this pig. He's got a big hip, he's got a big hind leg, and it tracks square. Very, very good pig here from a very good firm in terms of the way they've been breeding livestock. These pigs are consistent, they're good, and they look like they're going to feed. Very good pig here from the Klein Swine Association with the Chester Boar Pig.
Last lot in the sale, and I think a great way to end it off. Again, thought the whole consignment, just top to bottom, is as stacked as you could possibly make it. Not offering a lot of pigs, but man, dang sure a bunch of good ones. And so one that I think Guy's going to get his lessons again. So, lot 20 is one that I do think is neat. I mean, he's awesome to study in terms of stoutness, elevation, extension, front third, hip and hind leg assembly, all things that I love talking about, especially in today's world with show bears. This is the one that you get there, you get a pin early, but then what separates the top end of these shows is being unique, being extra, having those extras all packed onto a stout boxy build and the right kind of look. And so I think this one's extremely good, a very, very good way to end us. I do want to touch on a couple things right before we close out. Make sure that you guys that are watching get in touch with the breeders. If you need some videos or some more info on the pig, get in touch with your breeders. We'll help you out any way that we can. We are here and here for you. So if you need any help, reach out to us. If you have questions on the pigs, you're better off reaching out to the breeder. They'll tell you more things about them than we can.
So, like Kimball said, reach out to the breeders if you got any questions about the pigs. Like I said, they'd be better formatted in terms of being able to respond to questions and know what's going on. These lots will be available on showpig.com and SC Online to look at and kind of gather some information on. The sale is actually at 6:05 on CCI.live. So, if you guys want to tune into that, that'd be incredible. Very good set of pigs. Very excited about them. Love the breeders that are in this thing. A lot of feedability. Have a good day.